Early voting ends Saturday with primary election day next Tuesday.
And folks in the 1st Congressional District will choose who they want to see on the fall ballot. The newly drawn district includes the northeastern part of our state. Russ Bowen is here now. And Russ, you had a chance to sit down with the mayor of Rocky Mount.
That's right. Sandy Roberson is running in the Republican primary. We talked about how he differs from many other Republican candidates when it comes to abortion, as well as a project he believes could greatly improve the economy in his district and the expansion of NATO. So you come from a perspective that some of the other folks who are running for Congress don't have, which is you live in a rural county, in a rural town. They're dealing with kitchen table issues just like the urban areas, but they're still kind of different. What are the problems that you're seeing?
Well, you know, I got to tell you, also being mayor in the city of Rocky Mount, I deal with this even from an economic development is #1 issue. We're a bunch of Tier 1 counties, which means our educational systems are struggling right now in many ways. Economic development is a challenge. We don't have access to broadband. We don't have the necessary infrastructure to really be able to provide prosperity for many of our resident population. You know, the exception of that, you know, Greenville maybe, some other pockets within the 1st District create that. But I'm from Rocky Mount. I've grown up there. My dad's from a little town called Beargrass, North Carolina, in Martin County. My mother is from Edgecombe County and the Rocky Mount side of that. And so I understand what it's like. I understand the culture of the folks that are there. I understand the struggles. And one of the bigger struggles that we're dealing with right now is inflation. I mean, these guys are just having a hard time making means work. I mean, when you're a Tier 1 county, you're struggling for resources anyway. And now to put a little extra additional tax on it called inflation is really creating problems for many folks.
So what's your thought in fixing this problem? I mean, has the Biden administration done anything right in your opinion, or is there anything more that they should be doing at this point?
I'm sure they've done something right. I just can't recall what it might be. What I will say is we've got to fix inflation. That's #1. I believe the easiest and fastest way to do that is to get back to an energy independence, go back to previous administrations' energy policy. That touches all of us, every single last one of us. We can get the price of a barrel of oil down, then we're going to be able to really make a big lick at this thing. The other thing we need to do is we need to make sure that we stop some of the stimulus spending. I think it was perhaps appropriate during the COVID pandemic. We didn't really know how that was going to shake out, but we just need to stop it. You know, that's really accelerating a lot of the inflation as well. So that's #1 thing that we need to absolutely make happen.
What other pressing issues are out there for Eastern North Carolina?
We're struggling in many ways. We have been left out of the prosperity that the bulk of North Carolina has experienced. And I think that one of the key things that could happen is to ensure that we get the funding for our I-87, which is really the connection of US 17 to US 64 to the Port of Norfolk, basically to Raleigh. And what that would do is it would create a very large economic development zone. So it connects the port with our intermodal that is in Edgecombe County in Rocky Mount, and the items that we're looking at, the opportunities that we're looking at as a result are massive. Just put it in perspective, the Gateways Partnership has 79 active projects. Now, for us to call a project active means that we've touched it in the last 90 days. 79 projects active that create in excess of $20 billion on the ground, would create in excess of 21,000 jobs.
So in the last few days, we have received from American intelligence that they expect this to be a prolonged war in Ukraine, that Putin is not going anywhere, and it may last for months into years. What are we doing right at this point, and what are we not doing right?
I'm glad to see that we're providing some support for the Ukraine in terms of weapons, and I'm glad to see that we are no longer sitting on the sidelines. I think the sanctions against Russia are appropriate and right. I believe that the funding and the help and assistance that we're providing for Ukraine is also appropriate and right. I hate to see war in any form or fashion, but I believe in Putin's case in particular, he's just a tyrant. He's a guy that we're going to have to stop. Otherwise, he's going to keep pushing.
Has your belief in NATO or your opinion of NATO changed at all in watching this progress?
Look, I believe that NATO is an important organization for us, and I would like to see Ukraine be part of it.
What about expanding further, even to Sweden and Finland?
I have no problem with that. I think that's absolutely what we do. Look, it's called a sphere of influence. It's been part of our policy, international policy, for years and years and years. You know, we're trying to create as many friends as we can around the globe to protect our interests and to advance our interests. I think that's always appropriate.
So if it goes as we think it may go, or it looks like it may go, regarding Roe v. Wade and the U.S. Supreme Court, what are your thoughts on abortion?
Well, first of all, I'm pro-life. I'll say this, that Roe v. Wade being struck down, if it's struck down, really just hands the issue over to state legislators to make their decisions. And I think that's appropriate. And as I read the Constitution, and when I was a political science student, those matters, moral matters, really do belong at each state level. And I think each state figures it out.
What are your thoughts on abortion when it comes to rape, incest, or the life of the mother?
Of course, you know, it's appropriate in cases where the endangerment of the mother is at play, and there are certain other circumstances. And we could go and we could split hairs and frog hairs down to frog hairs down to frog hairs. But on balance, I am pro-life. Of course, if the mother's life is endangered, you know, it needs to be considered.
Well, it seems like, as I interpret your answer, you know, when it comes to rape and incest, that it's a case-by-case basis.
Of course.
Where, with many of your counterparts that I've interviewed, it's been a hard line no.
Right, right. No, I think for sure we have to consider that it's a case-by-case basis.
And guys, you know, there's been this recent surge in Rocky Mount, his town, of gun violence. We've got lots of coverage on his response to that at CBS17.com. You can also find all our previous interviews with Republicans and Democrats at CBS17.com as well.
Very good, Russ. Thank you.
You bet.
Are you ready to get away